Hello and welcome to the Cold Coffee Club, a podcast brought to you by Houston Moms. We're here to give you a little bit of that mom-to-mom connection, fun, and conversation amidst all the chaos. Join us as we take a break from doing all the things and explore the wide spectrum of this crazy motherhood role. We'll interview fun guests, talk about cool grown-up topics, laugh, share, and grow together. So go ahead, reheat that coffee, and put your feet up. Here we go.
Good morning. Welcome to the Cold Coffee Club. This is Ashley.
Hi, this is Jenny. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Okay, Ashley, spill some tea for us today.
All right. So I am in the stage of life where now that I'm divorced and everything, I've been trying out dating apps.
Okay.
It is garbage.
Oh, I know.
The experiences, if there are any other single moms out there, you know that your dating standards are different now. You're a mom, you want like someone who's kind and respectful. Okay. We're not like young, silly 20-year-olds where it's like, oh, you're cute and it doesn't really matter, like whatever, right. I'll hang out with you. We want a little more substance than that. And I am finding there is a lack of substance out there. I'm just gonna put it out there. It is disheartening.
No.
The responses I've gotten from men who are in their mid to late 30s, early 40s, I am flabbergasted. And I'm also taking notes because I'm like, there is no way my sons will be these people. Like, what? Who says this? Call.
How do they think it's gonna work? Like, you think that's what you think is gonna, like, you're like, oh yes, here I am.
Yeah,
let's go. Like,
yeah, I don't know if that's just maybe what they're looking for is women of little substance who require nothing of them, but like, that's not me.
Well, you posted one the other day, and like the speed in which he
it was like, hi, how are you?
Something. Hey. Yeah, I was like, oh, like we're not even gonna like exchange two sentences before we just launch right in. Okay.
And I had to take some time to like look at my profile, like what is telling you this is appropriate? What am I putting out there? And it's literally like, hello, I like these things. And
you're like, do I have some coded emoji on here that I don't know what it means?
I really dug a little deeper and like,
what do I, you know how there's like that thing where like a pineapple means like something like on your porch and people don't know that. You're like, do I have something on here that I am signaling?
Yes. I had to like look at my photos. I mean, there are some where I was like out and dressed up, and there were some where I was loungy in a t-shirt. I'm like, what am I putting out into the universe?
Oh my God.
I will say I have met some fun people that I'm, still just hanging out with and like, okay, let's see what happens. But there is a surplus of just tomfoolery happening on these sites. And I just want to put it out there, y'all, if you're into these apps. I mean, maybe we should all take a break for a little while. I was like, I just need to sit down somewhere and just not, because it is, it's wild out there.
Well, I applaud you, and you have all my support and my thoughts and prayers.
Thank you. That's what I need.
Don't know.
That's what these people need. They need all kinds of prayers.
I would be so scared.
It is. It's a lot.
Okay. Well, I wanted to get into the cream and sugar because we went somewhere this weekend that, and it's funny, we didn't even get to fully experience it because it was so busy, but there's a new place that has been super talked about everywhere, and it's called PopStroke. And it's actually like a Tiger Woods development. It's in Katy, and it is like a putt-putt play. Well, I mean, that's putting it lightly. So there is like a putt-putt course, like mini golf. But then there's also, it's like a really great like bar, and you can eat dinner there. And then there's like foosball tables and ping pong tables, and it's all outdoor and like all looks out over the putt-putt course. Okay. We got there. It was so crowded. We could not play putt-putt.
Yeah.
But we sat at the table. We ate. We had a couple of drinks. The kids played on the play area. They played foosball. It was really, really cool. It was a little drizzly, so like we had to like sit under the roof area because I'm not into sitting in the rain
Yeah.
personally. But man, it was crowded. So if you're going to go, call ahead and see like,
Okay.
hey, like how long is it going to be? Because if they're like, it's going to be an hour before you can play mini golf, you might want to know that beforehand. But it's really cool. Like it looks like it's going to be something. It would be really cool for like corporate events or like a birthday party for a kid too, but also a grown up. Like
right.
Want to have a birthday party for an adult.
Yeah. So. And you said it's called PopStroke?
Yeah, PopStroke.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. What about you? You got any cream and sugar this week?
Yes. So Rotolo's Craft and Crust hosted some Houston Moms contributors, and we got to go just try out a bunch of delicious food. So they are known for having incredible pizza. Their salads look insanely good. I'm gonna have to try a salad next time, but lots of shareable, yummy, really awesome dishes. And then the craft part is, of course, there's beer. And
yes.
If you know me, you know I like beer. So
yay, Rotolo's.
Yes. So check out Rotolo's. The location.
Thank you for
here,
hosting us, Rotolo's.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's located in Spring. So in my neck of the woods, which is really exciting. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We're just gonna hang out here from now on. This is our thing now. So yes, shout out to Rotolo's.
This episode of the Cold Coffee Club is sponsored by the Department of Wonder. Houston Moms is so excited to tell you about Make Believe at the Department of Wonder. Make Believe is the new imaginative play experience for ages 2 to 5 and their guardians. It is so unique and magical. Becca V and Alyssa and Becca S went recently with their littles, and their pics and videos look so amazing. Make Believe is just enchanting with backdrops and tools to help you and your child conjure an unforgettable experience to last a lifetime. It's an opportunity for imaginative play and story time for tiny adventurers up to 5 years old. Plus, it's a great value. Tickets are sold as an adult and child combo starting at $25. For more information about everything you can see at the Department of Wonder, as well as Make Believe, location, tickets, all the details, click the link in our show notes. All right, back to the show. All right, so today we are talking about disciplining our children. Which you have 3 boys. I have a girl and a boy. And so we're both kind of probably in the thick of it with that age right now. And I know this is something that can sometimes be a little bit of a polarizing topic. And so I want to start by saying that Ashley and I are not parenting professionals or experts. We don't have degrees on this subject. We are just talking as 2 moms who are doing our very best and have made mistakes and have done things the wrong way and have changed our minds on some things probably. And are still learning, and will probably change our minds again in the future.
Oh yeah.
So if you disagree with us, that's cool too. And yeah, we're just talking.
Yeah.
So Ashley, like, what are some of your kind of where are you at right now with your kiddos and discipline, and how are things going over there at your house?
So one of the main things you really come to realize is that each kid is very, very different. You can be raised in the exact same household under the exact same, well, for the most part, the same circumstances, and just certain things don't work with certain kids. Got it, noted. And I don't know why it still surprises me. I'm still like, what? That doesn't work? Okay, cool. So my oldest is 10, and he is very preteen ish right now, and it's frustrating to say the least. And my younger 2 are very much still being kids. So we're trying to navigate how do we discipline our oldest? And I've always been a mom who's like, I don't believe in spanking. That's just not really my jam. And I didn't think it sent the right message. So every day we're still kind of tailoring and okay, what's gonna work? What do you need from me? And that, I think, is my main goal as far as disciplining, is trying to figure out what you need. I try not to be so quick to react, and I try to really focus on there's something that's going on and I don't quite know what it is, but what can I do to help you? And that is, we have an episode coming up about family trauma. We'll get into that later because
Yes.
my urges based on my family is just like, shut it down, make it stop. But I'm really trying to figure out how we do things. So right now we're still tailoring things, and do I need to take things away? Do I need to give more? Do I need to spend some focused time with this child who seems to be acting up and not listening, not being a happy helper? Is so that's something we say a lot. What is it that this kid needs? So I think that is our main approach to start off with disciplining. So yeah, what about you? How are you kind of navigating things?
We have had to change course so many times. I've always joked that for a long time, my firstborn is very much our little people pleaser, and will agree to, yes, ma'am, like, will really never disobeyed, was like our little angel baby. And we always thought like, oh, we are just the most amazing parents. Like, we've really got it nailed. And I would see other people whose kids were not obeying, and I was just like, wow, like we really have got it together. And then when our second kid came around, it was like, oh, so it wasn't us so much as it was just, she is just like the angel.
That's how they get you. The first one.
And, also what I've learned is, as she has gotten older, by the way, while that was a beautiful little toddlerhood and early childhood, she still is very obedient, but that has manifested itself into tons of anxiety. And it's like, sometimes it's like, I need you to express your opinion, and I need you to tell me when you are frustrated and not just suppress that. We've had to work through some of that. With my younger one, man, we've had our ups and our downs. It's the roller coaster of change of how we have disciplined him. And one of the biggest things is training ourselves not to implement a consequence in the moment. So like, if he is disobeying or not just cooperating, our response was always to, in that moment, go like, well, you know what? You don't get dessert tonight, or you don't get what, and it's because I'm reacting, and this is my way of trying to implement a consequence right now. First time obedience, that always blew up in our face every time. And then it would turn into more, now we're spun out, and now it's, and I slowly was starting to realize, after much, play therapy and all kinds of stuff, that when he was reacting in these big ways, like I was making it worse by implementing a consequence in the moment. And we have stopped doing that, and it has changed everything. And another thing is, I try not to discipline things that are not intentional choices. So for example, if he is having an emotionally dysregulated moment and he's frustrated and he's holding something and he throws it on the ground out of anger, and that thing now breaks, he, as much as he was emotionally dysregulated in the moment, that was not an intentional choice, meaning he did not intend to do that. That was not an intentional thing. Now, if he cognitively thinks, I am going to sneak down to the kitchen and steal something out of the pantry that I know I was not supposed to get, that is an intentional choice. That is a difference between two different things there. So trying to make a distinction between what is him not being regulated and what is him in a right state of mind making a decision to disobey. And treating those as separate things. Was a big game changer for us.
Oh yeah. I have inadvertently taught myself, because I've been teaching my children, is that I need to make sure I'm not on their same level. We're not matching energy. So I tell my 10-year-old that all the time. I'm like, why are you fighting with the 5-year-old like a 5-year-old? You're not 5, you're 10, and you have the experience and the wherewithal to know that y'all are not the same. So I need you to be a bit of a leader because you're older. He's much younger than you. He doesn't understand the things you understand. And so in teaching him that, I'm like, girl, you are 35. Why are you on the same level as the 7-year-old or the 5-year-old or the 10-year-old? Why are you are the grown-up here? You need to be more calm. They're having a breakdown. You don't also need to have a breakdown. You have the opportunity to try and manage the situation a little bit. And that is something, I didn't always feel that way. And there were moments where we were all on the same level. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm too grown for this.
And I can tell, like, this happened just the other night. We were in the living room and they were like a level 10, both of them. And they were asking me a ton of questions, which really gets to me. So the other night, this happened to us. We were in the living room. My kids were asking me question after question after question, which really I get real overstimulated. And I could feel myself getting real triggered. And I knew I was about to kind of go off on them. And I know that triggers them, and especially my little boy. And I thought, I'm going to go off, and then he's going to go off. And we're only 20 minutes from bedtime. And this is going to be a whole thing that it's going to be a domino effect started by me. And so I literally stood up and walked to my bedroom and like sat down and started folding some laundry in the other room because I knew I needed to get out of the living room because I thought like, and I didn't say like, I'm leaving, I'm going out of here. Like, it was like, I'm going to sneak out and go away because I knew I'm about to go off on these people. Because there are times I can play that game where they're like, well, you're the worst mom ever. And I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, bud. I can be calm, but there are times that I know I'm just like at that, like I'm kind of riled up myself. And I thought, I don't know that I'm going to be able to keep it calm right now. So I'm going to check out and I'll come back later.
One thing more recently, since I'm doing this more so on my own when I have the kids, I've realized that I don't always need to step in to discipline or even like just solve the issues. There are a lot of times where I just walk away and I'm like, well, did you talk to the person who's bothering you? No, I just came to tell you. That's not really my thing. Like, is anyone bleeding? Is everyone okay? You're just upset and angry? Well, you should probably talk to the person who's bothering you. They typically come to me like, I want you to fix this. I want you to shut it down, tell him he's in trouble and it's not my problem. Take something away from him. I'm like, no, this is a you guys issue. You guys talk. And I'm finding that tends to work a little bit better. And it gets really exhausting being the one who always has to discipline someone or just shut down things or get to the bottom of everything. It gets really draining and it's not really fun to have to like at some points you do raise
the
your
referee
voice.
at all.
And a lot of times it's just like I'm not a part of that. Y'all deal with it. And
it's healthy for them. It's healthy for them to do that conflict resolution. That's great.
It really is. And there are so many times where they skip and they just talk to me. And I'm like, the other person doesn't even know that they upset you. You should probably really talk to him. He doesn't even know why you're mad. You walked away. To come tell mom. And they don't know what happened. And I am really big on, I've read a lot of things where they say a timeout really isn't helpful. It's not helpful in disciplining your children. I agree, because it's not really doing anything. It's to that, like it's as far as like changing the behavior. But I do find like you need to step away because you're upset right now. Go take a minute, go have a breather, think about what's going on. And I try to frame it that way as, you're not in trouble necessarily, but I need you to go regroup. And that has worked out really well. We have a timeout chair that now my boys are getting too big for, and it makes me sad. It's like they're like sitting, on Elf where he's sitting on a chair and he's like entirely,
oh my
that's
gosh.
what I see now. So I'm like, go take a breather in the bathroom, and they'll go do that. And a lot of times they come out in a better mood, and then they're willing to talk. So that is kind of my approach right away to kind of fix a situation, so that I'm not yelling, we're all not yelling, it's not this crazy stressful situation. But having that minute where it's like, or just like you going, and before it becomes a big issue, you went into your room and folded laundry. Well, sometimes I can kind of see things starting to happen between them, and I'm like, hey, Maverick, why don't you go take a breather real quick, because I see that you're frustrated. Let's go take a breather. I'll sit with you if you need me to.
So
and that's one thing I
want to
enjoy.
say something about that with timeouts. We had tried timeouts for a little bit with Jack, just to, sometimes he just truly needed to be removed from the situation. And it always made it worse. He would it almost more spun up in the timeout. It was like Tasmanian devil, and he would like freak out in there. And I talked to his play therapist about it once, and one thing she suggested was, she said, sometimes kids like this, when you're sending them to their room or you're sending them to timeout, they are like, see, now I'm being punished even more. Now I'm even in more trouble. Like, this is like, it's, this is worse. When she's like, the point of why you are doing it is to help him calm down. That's why you want him to go. You're not sending him there because you're banishing him, or he's, it's not like Cinderella being sent up to the thing. Like, it's truly like a, hey, go breathe. It's doing the opposite effect. And so what she said to do, she's like, still do this, because you're right. He needed to go be removed from whatever was going on. Because a lot of times with us, it would be like, if we had a big group of people over, or there was a lot of kids, or whatever, he literally just needed to go take a second. She said, just go sit in there with him, do the same thing, just go sit in there. So I would literally go to his room with him, and he would sit on the bed, and I would just kind of lean against the wall, and I'd sit in there with him and explain, like, you're not in trouble. We're just here to calm down. And now that we've done that enough times, now when I tell him to go calm down, he gets it, that you're not being sent up there because I'm mad. You're being sent up there because you got to take a second. And now it's a reprieve. Now he's like, thank you. Yes, I did need to go calm down up here. Where before he was just like, see, everyone hates me. Like, everyone, and that took a minute to be able to understand that, like, he needed me to feel safe, and he needed me to feel like he wasn't being banished, like, get out of here, we don't want to see you. And so that was interesting. So I did want to share something that happened just yesterday, and I was so like, oh, this is perfect for the podcast. And I'm not going to get into all the details of it, because she's getting to the age that I kind of want to respect her privacy a little bit. But Ellie came to me and was like, I need to be honest with you about something. And we have a certain rule in our household. And she said, I broke that rule, and it's been weighing on me, and I want you to know about it. And I can't stop thinking about it, and you should know. And I'm willing to, obviously, if you want to give me a consequence, that's fine, which is like really cute on one hand. Like, I was like, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. But I told her I would think about it. And I said, thank you for being honest. And I've been chewing on it. And I started realizing, like, one of the biggest things for me is whether it's my kid, a politician, like an athlete on a sports game, is people that just own their stuff, that just said, that was my bad, I messed up, it's on me. And especially when they don't go, and so made me do it, or well, so-and-so did it too, or well, he wasn't my fault because... Right, exactly. Just to say, like, I shouldn't have done that. I messed up. And really, when we're teaching our kids things and disciplining them, what is it that we want them to do? We want them to learn how to own up to their stuff. Like, that's what we want from them. It's so to have her come to me and say, not because she got caught, she had not been caught. She just came to me and said, I broke a rule. It's been weighing on me. I shouldn't have done it. I don't know why I did it. I'm sorry. I'm ready to receive whatever it is that you feel like you need to do.
Yeah.
And so I went back to her later and I was like, hey, don't let it happen again.
Mm-hmm.
But we're good here. Like,
that's awesome.
We don't need to do anything else, because I want to reward the honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it were to continue to happen, then obviously we're going to have a conversation.
Right.
But I don't know. Like, I just was like, this is what we want. Like, this is the result that we want. And I want her to remember that she can come to me
mm-hmm.
with that honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, I said, you didn't blame anybody else. You didn't say, well, so-and-so gets to do this at her house. And so,
mm-hmm.
You just owned it.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that. So
yeah. Good for her.
It was good.
That's incredible.
I was proud of her.
Yeah. One other thing I tend to focus on, as far as discipline, I feel like part of discipline is setting some kind of structure with my children. I think, at least in my household, I like to have a certain balance of things. So, for instance, my kids are big on screen time, like most kids are. And I want them to look at it as like this is a privilege that I have. It's not a free for all. We're not doing this all day, every day kind of thing. And so having just structure to where they know that there's a balance between like getting your things done and doing what you're responsible for as a kid. And then having the reward of also getting to do the thing that you like. We have chore charts and I give them stickers, and I'm like, I love that you were so helpful this morning. You get an extra sticker. Or, I love that I didn't even have to say anything to you about smoothing out your sheets on your bed. You handled it. I'll give them extra rewards for that. And I try, as how like on Google, when you look up ratings for something, most people are willing to rate things when they're upset. They don't
Yes.
always put stars for when it's like, I had a great experience. And I think that's part of our culture that's a little bit of an issue, is that we focus so much on the negatives. We spend so much time saying like, you did this wrong, why did you do that, I didn't appreciate
Mm-hmm.
this. And I really try really hard to go out of my way to say, because you did such a great job doing this, I'm also going to give you an extra sticker and you get 10 more minutes of screen time, whatever.
Yes.
And I think that kind of makes it easier and more palatable for my kids when they do get in trouble and they step out of line and they need to go, there's some kind of punishment. It makes it easier for them to kind of deal with it, because they also remember like, well, also today I did get an extra sticker because I did this,
Mm-hmm.
but I messed
Mm-hmm.
up here. Okay, it makes sense. My oldest child tends to be a little bit of he's a grumpy old man at 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I really have to do it up, the positive things, so that it stands out more to him.
Yeah.
Because everything is just like, life is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, it's not fun. I had no reason to smile today. Like,
Of course.
what?
Yeah.
So really trying to be as positive as I can, and develop that structure to where they see that everything is a balance. You have great stuff that you get to look forward to every day, but there are also things that you need to get done, and you have responsibilities here. That's one thing I'm always very nervous about, is I don't want to raise entitled children.
Amen.
That is terrifying to me. I think there are a lot of entitled people, and I want to avoid 3 more.
Yes. I actually had a chart, with Jack, where instead of a chore chart,
Mm-hmm.
he has like a chart where like, it's like a checklist. I have it in a spreadsheet actually. And it's like Sunday, Monday, days of the week. And it's like things where he has to accomplish, but rather than like make your bed, bring down your laundry,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, even like I've broken it down by, did you have a good attitude in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a good attitude in the afternoon? Did you have a good attitude in the evening? Did you speak kindly to the members of this household?
Yep.
Did you keep your hands to yourself? And so because I know it's like even breaking it down by morning, afternoon, because you don't want to like wash out the whole day when he had a bad morning.
Yeah.
Because we're working on baby steps over here. And so being able to do that and just be like, you kept your hands to yourself today. Good job. We give you a sticker for that. And so we go through the whole thing. And then what he does is we do it like an accumulation at the end of the week. If he has earned 40 stars at the end of the week, then we're going to go to Target and you get a $10 thing or something like that. And he is very motivated by things. And so, you know, but you do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do. It's you know, this whole parenting gig is tough.
It's a good one.
It's so much fun. And yeah, again, the things that work for one kid don't always work for the other. So it's like, oh yeah, I got it nailed. And then you have a second baby and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
They don't respond to things, or, you know, they don't want stickers. They don't care. My youngest cares very little about most things.
Yeah.
And every day it's like what makes him tick? What is going to help encourage him to try?
And honestly, like with Jack, raising your voice at him or expressing disappointment in him is the worst thing I can do.
Yeah. Yep.
And that is so hard because, and granted, there are times like I need to say, but I have to time it well. It needs to be the next day, and I need to be talking about it in a past tense. It can't be like right now I'm disappointed in you. It needs to be later, going like, when you do things like that, it makes me feel this. It can't be like right now I'm upset.
Yeah.
So it's hard. That's real hard.
It is. Yep. And at the end of the day, with disciplining, it all needs to come from a place of love. And that was a big thing for me to understand, is that you cannot discipline, or at least not with the intention of changing the behavior and helping them learn something. You can't do that from a place of anger. Like, I am so mad at you for doing this. They're not going to absorb the lesson and change things when you're doing things out of anger. So coming from a place of love and respect will change the game.
And respecting the fact that they are still learning and growing, and that their brain has not fully developed, and they are learning all these decisions, and that they are need to be given a little bit of grace to mess up sometimes. And it's hard.
Just remind yourself constantly, their brains aren't fully developed. It's not their fault. Their brains aren't there.
And it's our job to help them. You know, it's our job to get them there. So
every time you look at them and they're doing something nuts, just remind yourself their brain's not working all the way. Hey Houston, we want to hear from you. Are you a local business owner, media personality, author, influencer, or just someone who has something we really need to hear about? Email us at admin@houstonmom.com and tell us a little about yourself. Maybe we can have you on an episode. Back to the show. What is your favorite post on the Houston Moms site right now?
I loved Bambi put together a list of volunteer opportunities for kids. Did you have that one down too?
That was mine too.
I loved it.
I loved it so much. I was just telling someone, I need a list like this. I need to know where my kids can go to be helpers.
Yes. And I even loved, someone commented on it that it would be a great thing for Girl Scout troops and church groups and things like that. Like, just to have a list like this of places you can go and bring your kids to be helpers. I just love that.
Yes.
If you talk about not wanting to raise entitled kids.
Exactly.
There you go.
Speaking of which, I am super excited about this. I got my kids to very happily collect toys in their playroom that they were willing to donate. I was like, first of all, you have too much stuff. But second, I don't feel like you appreciate all the stuff you have. And I said, is there anything you're willing to share with children who don't have all the things that you have? And they went through the entire playroom. And I tell you, they were like serious about it. They talked about it. They're like, Reeve, are you done with this toy? Because I think we can let it go. And they discussed, and it was amazing.
Sweet babies.
And I filled up my trunk. And then I really wanted to support a Black-owned daycare if possible. So I put out out some feelers on Facebook and found a few. And then the one that I ended up picking is very close to my house. And they were so appreciative. And I took pictures of their toys in the new place that they're going to be. And the boys are just like, oh, that's cool. Were there a lot of kids there? Were they happy? And I was just like, yes, they were. You guys did a great thing.
So sweet.
So yes. And I'm hoping to fill like the summer with these kinds of volunteer opportunities or ways that we can be helpful. So
I love that.
I loved this list. We are going to wrap up with a see you later caffeinator. I found this article on understood.org and it is called 7 Common Myths About Discipline. And you can go to that yourself. We'll put the link in the show notes. But the number 1 myth that popped up was discipline and punishment are the same. And the fact is, punishment is a form of negative discipline. The purpose is to end inappropriate behaviors using consequences. But punishment is not likely to change kids' behavior in the long term. So positive discipline focuses on helping kids learn from their mistakes. And so that's kind of what we were talking about is, you know, having a message behind it and taking the time to think about, you know, what is the appropriate response here? What is going to help encourage them to do different? Sometimes it might mean that there is some form of punishment, like, hey, you need to, you know, you can't play with this toy anymore because you're being disrespectful with it. You're hitting your brother with it. So it looks like that toy is gone for you.
We're going to take this away. Yeah. You don't get to have this right now because you clearly can't use it properly.
Absolutely. So the goal is to make them think like, okay, well, I can't keep doing that because then I won't get to play with it. So, you know, it's
connecting those two things.
Exactly. They're connected versus just like responding with a punishment and leaving it at that.
Right.
You know, it needs to
it needs to connect to it. Like you can't be like, well, you hit your brother with the toy, therefore you can't have dessert. Because they're like, well, how are those two things?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So helping them, because their brains aren't fully developed, helping them understand the correlation between, you know, what they did and the punishment and, you know, and having that message behind it. That makes it discipline, not just punishment. So I thought that was really cool, but definitely check out the list. There are several things where I was like, well, I thought that for sure. Like,
I share, can we have a one additional caffeinator? Because this is very short. But I saw, you know, people use the word like, oh, I was grounded or you're grounded. I found how kind of the origination of that word. Okay. It was originally used in terms of aviation when a pilot is prevented from flying an aircraft due to misconduct or illness or even technical issues with the aircraft. They would say that pilot is grounded, literally confined to the ground.
Yeah.
So it came from that, and then it came to telling your kid you're grounded.
Yeah, I like that.
Now you
Very cool. Very cool.
So fun.
Well, thanks so much for joining the Cold Coffee Club today.
Yes. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, wait. Before you go, check out a few outtakes from this episode of the Cold Coffee Club.
Hold on just a second. My dog is letting his opinion be known.
Of course.
You've been listening to the Cold Coffee Club, brought to you by Houston Moms. We wish you a fabulous week with your families and look forward to sharing many more cups of cold coffee with you.